Welcome to Subramani. December is the feeling guilty month. It's the hangover month, or whatever you want to call. When we sit back and say, oh, I should have done this, I didn't do this, these are the resolutions that I made. And I didn't stick to them. I joined the gym in the month of January. I went till the 5th of January, and then on 17th of January, then on 28th of January, then 15th February. 17th February, 22nd February, and then 2 days in March, and after that I started blaming my travel, my what have you, and I dropped going there. So I'm not talking of resolutions in general, but I'm talking of financial resolutions. Even in financial resolutions, we make a lot of resolutions which we don't stick to. So here I am trying to tell you that resolutions are difficult to make and difficult to stick to. In fact, if you go to subramani.com, there are a lot of articles I have written on resolution. What are the resolutions you could make? What are the resolutions that you will not stick to? Why you will not stick to? By reading all that, hopefully some of the resolutions that you make, you will stick to. But I think the book Atomic Habits has at least taught us that we can make that small change, that 1% change per day kind of a thing, rather than thinking that you will make some dramatic changes. For people who want to give up cigarettes or sugar or something like that, it is the small changes that you can make. Though of course there are people like Pattu who just went and said, oh, from tomorrow I'll not have sugar. I don't know whether it is possible for all of us. I'm sure it is not possible for me. So don't try something very dramatic and all that and say, oh, and even if you were to try something dramatic, don't try 2, 3, 4, 5 things at a time, because it's not going to happen. Make small changes. I think that's a brilliant book, why it says that small atomic changes is what you should be aiming at, and you are capable of doing it. Why do we make resolutions? Maybe because it's fashionable to make resolutions, but we also realize that then it leads to regret. So like I said, scene 1 act 1, scene 2 act 1, scene 3 act 1. So 2021 December you have regrets, 2022 December you have regrets, and December 2023 you have regrets. Makes no sense at all, right? So what happens is we postpone something to a virtuous tomorrow. Tomorrow we are going to be very virtuous. So tomorrow I'll stop smoking, tomorrow I'll start running, tomorrow I'll start going to the gym, tomorrow I'll give up sugar. It's very easy. So on the 20th or 22nd of December, when you're making the resolution, you're buying yourself another 8 days time. That's all. You're saying, okay, from 1st of January I will do this. No, start doing it today. Make those small changes in life. And what could this be? It could just be a simple thing. Like I keep saying, investment philosophy statement, start creating one. I'm not saying you will complete the statement, but at least start. You have 42 investments, sit down and declutter. Right? You need maybe 5, maybe 7. Start decluttering, start redeeming. Don't worry too much about capital gains tax. In any country, if you make gains, you will lose, you will pay tax. So do something. Don't worry too much about all those things, right? If you want to shift from real estate to equity, make that shift. Sell your real estate, put that money in a ultra short bond fund, and do an STP. Am I saying you should be selling your real estate? No, I'm not saying that. Perhaps we are at the cusp of a big boom in real estate. I don't know. It's your call. Will you live with regret? That's the only question to answer. So I have real estate which I want to sell. I will sell today and I will put it. What you should do is a question that you have to answer yourself. Are we perhaps at the peak of an equity market and the bottom of a real estate market? Is this a time to remove money from equity, put it into debt, or remove money from equity and buy that extra room that you wanted? I'm not answering any of those questions. I'm just saying whatever you want to do, start making small changes. So if you want to you sell a house, you fix a price in your mind and tell your broker that you want to sell the house. Will the price go up tomorrow? I don't know. Will it grow up 30% in next 2 years? I have no clue. I'm not even answering those questions. I'm not making an attempt. But I can, and I also I'm seeing people make some small changes. For example, a friend, she's got 2 young kids, and she's getting them to say thank you to their servants on a regular basis, saying, telling the kids that, look, we are not capable of doing all our work, therefore we need their help, and this help comes at a price, and therefore the money that I earn and your father earns is put together, and we use part of it to pay for these services. So children should understand that there are people who are willing to help you for a fee. That's all. It's as simple as that. Tomorrow, when you go to a doctor, or whether you go to a financial planner or an investment advisor or anything, it remains more or less the same, right? There is something which you don't know, therefore you go to an outside professional and you pay. Now you can't treat a person very badly just you're paying well. Can you imagine shouting at a neurosurgeon or a cardiac surgeon? No. But you think, oh, it's a servant who is replaceable, so I can shout. Right, that's not right. So teaching those attitudes, this is not just about finance, right? But yes, finance plays an important role. Children learn from parental behavior that if a person is educated, good looking, well dressed, sitting in a proper office, you cannot shout. But at a servant, yes, you can shout. No, these are things which you have to teach. This is partly financial and partly behavioral, right? So some of the things which you can do, start doing, is first write the investment goals, right? So that your investment philosophy statement will also be part of your investment goals. You say, okay, these are my financial goals. Sit down with your family and decide what are your financial goals, because these are not your goals, these are the family goals. Your daughter is 21 years of age, she's going abroad to study. You and your wife have decided that you will go there to see the graduation ceremony. Should it be a surprise for her? Should you tell her that you are going? All that is different. But at least sit down and plan, saying in 2025 when my daughter graduates, or 2023 when my daughter graduates, I will want to be there, and for that I will require so much money, and that will be here, right? So this is the short-term goal. Long-term goals could be your retirement, your whatever, your reallocation of assets, any of those things. So start writing down your goals. It is very useful. Also, if you have not done it already, convert a part of your savings or a big part of your savings into investment. Don't make the mistake of thinking you're investing in gold or investing in LIC endowment policies or any endowment policies, right? You're not, you're wasting your time. These are savings. Savings will not grow your wealth. It will not help you create the 10, 20, 30 crores that you require for retirement. That has to be an aggressive investment, which is equity or perhaps real estate, depending on how much you understand the real estate cycle and what is your ticket size. Can you do a 2 crore investment in real estate without borrowing? That is investing. Borrowing 90% of the money and buying a real estate is not investing. That is, that is just buying one extra thing with a leverage. So leverage investments are more difficult to estimate about things going wrong. So be careful about that. Also say that I will live a simple, frugal life and spend money on things which I enjoy. So it could be, for somebody, it could be buying a big car. For somebody, it could be taking holidays. For somebody, it could be retire early to chant the Vedas, maybe. Whatever it is. Make sure that you understand what is your ikigai or what is your passion, what you wish to do, and concentrate on that. And for that, yes, you have to be employed because you need the money that is required. So put together all the money, live a frugal life, put together the corpus, do the asset allocation and say, okay, now I can retire at 52 and I will start doing these things. Perfectly all right. You decide what you want, make your priorities right? Then also decide that I will have regular conversations about money with my family, which could be your younger, your kids, your siblings or your parents, right? Telling your parents why it is important to make a will is as important as telling your 24-year-old daughter that since she has already bought a house, she should also be making a will, right? So it's not just making a will, that's the example that I'm giving. But from everything saying, okay, this is the way you can save money, this is the way you can invest money. Your parents also may not know it, your children may not know it, you yourself may not know it. So then what you do is you start learning more about finance by visiting good blogs like subramani.com. Sorry for the plug-in, but yeah. And there are books to read. There are books here. It's not that just my books. There are many other books like Atomic Habits, which I'm speaking about, the Checklist Manifesto, then Being Mortal, if your parents are older and you are about 50 years of age. Being Mortal, again Atul Gawande. These are all good books to read. I mean, don't read only finance, right? You read other non-finance books also. In fact, I need more non-finance books than I read finance books. Then say at my current level of knowledge, I will not invest in direct equity. To invest in direct equity, I'll sit and learn. It is not easy to know why a Coal India was not a good buy at 300, but is a good buy at. So whether you should buy Coal India at 150 or will it go down? Is the PE good? Is the EPS good? Is the dividend payout ratio good? Yeah, you need to know everything. But again, Coal India was a great example to give. It looked like a good yield share even at 300 and even at 120. But the question is not whether at 300 what you should have done. Of course, in retrospect, we all know we should have sold. And we also know at 120 we should have bought. But if you have not done anything at 150, what to do? So the question is, sit and learn about equity. Don't assume that because everybody is saying ITC is a good buy, ITC is a good buy, or that Coal India is a good buy. I am not commenting. I have invested in Coal India and I will not invest in ITC. Now that has got nothing to do with ITC at all. It is just that I don't want to invest in a tobacco company. That's my call. And therefore I have to get a lesser yield or lesser return on my portfolio because of the restriction that I have put on myself. This is not your problem at all, right? So I can go and tell you that buy this share and I can change my mind on Monday morning. So if you're watching this on a Friday evening, Monday morning I may go short on Coal India because I bought it at 120. I may be selling it at 165 and you may be buying. So don't think equity is easy to understand. Just because you're intelligent and you're very highly qualified, it does not mean that you understand this portion, right? You are a chartered accountant, that's fantastic, and you're in audit, you're in accounting, does not mean you can pick up the numbers and say, oh, this is how I think market works. Don't do it. Market requires a lot of training, patience, etc. Learning, training, patience. It has nothing to do with your qualification. All of us are well qualified to be in the markets. It's got nothing to do with the degree that you have or the degree that you wish you had. Having a chartered accountant degree or a CFA degree is useful provided you're doing this, right? If you're doing something else, then don't come into the market unless you equip yourself. Of course, you want to come here and lose money, be my guest, but it does not help you, right? Start trying to maintain your income expenditure, and if you have children who are spending, make sure that they are spending through card or whatever and they know how much they are spending. So if your daughter works in a company, make sure that she is spending company money differently and own money differently, in the sense that for company money she needs to have proof to be able to claim it. For own money you don't need to carry proof. You just say, oh, I spent so much. But if it's an expenditure which is going to be reimbursed, then they need to keep the copies of proof or things like that, right? Anyway, people spend everything on a credit card or on a debit card. So knowing where your money goes today has become much easier, because even 40 rupees and 50 rupees is something which people don't carry enough cash. So it is being a UPay or a Beam Pay kind of stuff which happens, right? So check out on all that, maintain proper accounts, make sure that your kids do it, maintain proper, when I'm talking of IPAS, which or the investment philosophy statement, also maintain proper records of why you have done something, right? That's part of your investment philosophy statement. Keep proper records, and if you've got too much, declutter your wardrobe, declutter your financial records, your everything, right? So declutter all that, and also make sure that you protect the people around you who are financially dependent on you. This could be your parents, could be your spouse, could be your children, and very importantly could be members of your team. If you're a CFO of a company with 50 people in your team, yes, those 50 people. If you're the CEO with 5,000 people, 50,000 people, 3 lakh people, depending on the size of your organization, it is important that your family, including your employees, also are financially responsible. So getting simple things like, getting your credit card report. Don't assume that everybody is doing very well because they don't tell you their problems. Just casually check out everybody's credit card report, and anybody less than 700, you could just ask them why things are going not so great, right? teaching your children and your spouse to make the utility bill payments. Of course, they're going to pay from your account, but they should at least know what is the consumer number, where is it visible, how does an electricity bill look like, what are the number of units that we consume. There is no reason why this all should be kept as a secret. You're getting it on your email ID, put it on the house email ID. Create email IDs like householdexpenses@gmail.com, whatever you want to call it. Let all the bills come there. Let your children also have a look. Let them also analyze. Let them make the payments. So 1 month you make the payment, 1 month your spouse makes the payment, 1 month your children make the payment. So everybody knows this is my turn. On the 5th of the month, I will make all the payments. I will not put it on autopilot, right? So some of those things. And I'm not even saying that all these should be your financial resolutions. You decide, you pick, you choose and say, okay, I want to go on this path, and I can go on this path on 22nd of December. I need not wait till 1st January 2022, right? So start, like they say in Hindi, jab jago tab savera, right? So learn, relearn, unlearn, learn to say no. You may not need many financial products. Declutter. These are all things which will lead you to financial happiness, not just more money. Of course, we all need money, and if you ask somebody, they'll say, oh, I need more money. But keeping the environment clean for the money to come in and be happy is very important. Money does not come into a dirty place. Thank you.